What's going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadskii, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. And in today's video, we're already looking forward to the Kizuna clash, which is going to be occurring very shortly here on One Piece Treasure Cruise. As we can see, the official announcement today with the Sugo Fest, 7.5% chance for a legend. Remember, the global anniversary is just around the corner, but it does also introduce the Kizuna, which is going to be starting February 21st at 1900 PST, along with the other goodies, including the Super Evolution of the new cat dog, as well as the Kizuna Clash gem sale. But ultimately in this video, we're going to be doing a preparation style video, giving you guys a few different team options that you can go ahead and potentially work towards in order to combat the upcoming Kizuna Clash. I will preface this video by saying that this Kizuna Clash does look pretty challenging compared to the previous Kizuna Clashes that we've had to deal with over the past few months. Lots of different gimmicks that you have to deal with in this event. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into it. So looking forward at the very first boss versus Quick, this is the team composition that I have for one different variation. We'll go through two different team comps for each variation to give you guys just a little bit of variety. So looking forward into this fight, Driven, Striker, and Slashers all receive cooldowns. So you ideally want Dex characters that are also one of those three classes. Now in Battle 2, it's interesting because you get given the increased damage taken for 7 turns, and there's also a lot of other gimmicks where it says after 1 turn has passed, there is going to be Despair and Bind, but the enemy will retreat. However, if you do kill the boss, meaning that you're not stalling 1 turn, then there's 80,000 damage inflicted to the crew, but it does make tap timing easier when you move into Battle 3, which is nice. You know, they're going to give you a lot of damage, but hey, at least you can hit your tap timings easier. But in this team comp that we're looking at, we're going to be using Bato and Cavendish's special to mitigate the damage that will be inflicted here. Now, I don't know if this is actually enough to fully tank the hit, but it's something that you can look at. Alternatively, another thing you can look at is by using characters that have the provoked attack potential ability. I actually haven't even had a look yet, but like Kid has it, he removes it by 3 turns, so with double Kid, you're already removing it. So technically speaking, you know, with this team comp, if you have everybody rainbowed, you actually remove the increased damage taken completely, which means you are only going to be taking 80,000 damage, which Bato and Cavendish with their special active will be able to deal with that. If you don't have the ability to remove it, you will have to have a very significant damage reduction effect in order to tank that 80,000 damage. It was very similar in the treasure map on the Ezo fight, I think. I can't remember exactly, but there was a fight that gave you huge death damage as well as increased damage taken. I'm not a big fan of the way that they do that, but it is what it is. But another thing is that when you reach the final stage, the enemy is going to change all of your slots except Dex slots into Super Bomb, and then also put them in a barrier, slot change impossible until you hit a perfect. So as if you don't carry Dex slots into this fight, you're going to be getting Super Block slots, but after level 31, all slots, including Dex, will be changed into Super Block. The way that we're getting around that is we're going to be using the Kid special, the Kid super type as well, to give us a full board of Super Bomb. I don't have it on this team, but you could use a support that will lock your slots. In this example, we're going to be using Pero Sparrow. He does have double special, which means we can use him on stage 3. Another thing on stage 3, after level 31, your crew gets special reversed, which Paraspero resists with his crewmate ability, and then his special ability will provide -1 cooldown to the enemy, as well as giving you color affinity. Just a really good option here. The Zoro here is really good because he actually activates the super type of Kid, as well as gives you a really significant orb boost. We have the Blackbeard, free-to-play Blackbeard, which gives us a defense down conditional boost, as well as removing the enemy's defense up, which occurs after level 31. And we have Kid special as well, so we have 1 Kid for stage 2, 1 for stage 3. His special will remove the enemy's threshold, which is awesome. So this is actually a pretty decent team, gets around all the gimmicks, and actually will output a lot of damage. And because we have the Super Bomb slots that we get from Battle 2, the enemy can't change those into Super Block when we move into the boss stage. So that's the whole idea with this team. Looking at the second team comp, not really the biggest fan of this one and how it really came together, because I did have to take out a unit at the last second because I completely forgot about the death damage that occurs on Battle 2. This is why we have Raid Bartolomeo on the squad. This is a free-to-play option that should be able to get around the gimmick in terms of the death damage. Unfortunately, no one on the crew has the ability to remove the increased damage taken with the potential ability, so you have to be very, very cautious. Alternatively, you could use a special that literally prevents you from defeat. I hadn't actually had a look at that, but there may be characters you could use. Now, in this team composition here, we are going to use Kara and Wanda as the captain because their captain ability is kind of unique, right? Because when you have their captain, it says at the start of battle 3, you reduce all characters' cooldown by 2 turns. And this means that you will actually completely resist the special reverse that occurs on battle 3. I'm pretty sure it will work that way when the enemy activates all of their gimmicks, and then the special reverse will occur, allowing you to deal with the special reverse innately. Also, Kara and Wanda provide a significant orb boost to the squad, as well as have the ability to remove enemies' defense. Well, it sets their defense to 0, which is great. Remember that we have Hiyori on the team because her special will give us a full board of Wano slots and lock them, so that when we move into battle 3, all of our slots are going to be maintained. We have the Law, which gives us a huge attack boost, as well as inflicting increased damage taken to the enemy side of the which just gives us free damage. And then we also have the Yukimaru rare recruit, which is just an accessible option to remove the 5 turns of damage threshold on the enemy side of the field. You could replace that with something else, but, you know, just giving you an option. This is a rare recruit, a really old rare recruit that essentially never sees play, but he does remove 5 turns of threshold, so the option is there. As I said, these are just showing you guys just some different units you may want to think about when you're coming up with your own team compositions. So moving away from the quick variation, let's talk about the strength boss this time. So luckily with this one, strength, dex, and quick all receive cooldown, so there's no class restriction, which is kind of nice. You can really run whatever you want. However, the thing about this fight is that it is very tailored to using Final Tap Luffy with the way that all of these gimmicks work, which is a bit of a shame because it really wants you to use the 6+ version of Final Tap Luffy. Because of the way that character's super type special works. Unfortunately, we don't get access to that immediately unless if you were lucky enough to pull for that unit, which I don't know why you would have done that. But the way that this team works is that on Battle 2, we have all of our colored slots and recovery slots become unfavorable, which is why we have the support of this Usopp attached to Luffy, which says that when we are inflicted with Orb Change, it will change unfavorable slots into recovery, which Luffy treats as beneficial as a captain. There's also going to be Special Reverse, which Luffy, with his super type special, is going to be able to give you -1 cooldown to quick free spirit and fighter characters. Luffy also provides a chain boosting effect with his super type special, which is able to somewhat deal with the 2.5 times attack, the chain 2.5 attack down effect, the chain attack down should we say. But you also are inflicted with 3 turns of chain reduction, which this is why we have the Croc support attached to Robin, removing 3 turns of chain reduction and giving us a 2.0 chain boundary. So the 2.0 chain boundary in tandem with Luffy's super type effect giving us a chain boost works very, very well. If you have the 6+ Final Tap Luffy, he actually does orb change with his super type, and the chain boost is more significant, which will enable you to deal with this stage much easier. You don't even need the Usopp support, so, you know, once you 6+ the Luffy, this fight does become easier. But on the boss stage, there's lots of additional gimmicks. There is going to be a barrier, and you have to hit 2 greats in order to pierce it, but after level 31, it ends up being 3 greats. However, there is an interrupt that a lot of people may look over, and it says that if you do a % damage special, it removes all of the enemy's barriers, which is kind of cool, because this is why we have the New Year's Legend Robin on the crew, because her special will do a 20% health cut, it gives us a defense down conditional boost, and it will enable us to proc the enemy interrupt to remove their barrier, so we don't have to bring a character to remove barriers, so that's kind of nice. So that's pretty good, but the thing about it is after level 31, the enemy does put up 5 turns of defense up, and because Robin doesn't completely remove all of the enemy's defense, it's only an 80% reduction. This is why in this team composition here, I have put Hina, because she removes 6 turns of defense up, and also provides a 2.75 times orb boost to quick characters in particular. So we don't have an orb boost on the team. Luffy's a huge attack booster that we can use on Battle 2, with the secondary one we can use on Battle 3. Hina has a huge orb boost boosting effect, as well as removing the defense up. Shanks is able to give us a huge color affinity boost, and then we're also going to be inflicted with special bind by 5 turns, and then Boa Hancock also provides us with a really good chain locking effect that can supersede the attack down chain effect that is also inflicted on us on battle 3. So these characters all work pretty well together. We're getting around all of the gimmicks here, and we have pretty crazy damage. This is going to do absurd damage. I don't know exactly how much it is, but it's going to hit hard. So this next team idea is actually pretty cool, as we get to use the Uta and the Beckman and Lucky Roux character, which I did make a video on a few weeks back, talking about how these two characters together just build a really cool core team of units. So remember, with Uta, she boosts Cerebral and Shooters, and then we have Beckman Lucky Roux, who boost Quick and Shooters. So we have a team here that all works together. So the Beppo character is very important here, because we can actually use him on stage 2 to give us a full board of tandem slots, and he also has the support of Jinbei, which, yes, it is an all blocking effect, but that's actually not the reason why he's on this team. This Jinbei support, which is free by the way, you can get from the treasure map shop, has a support that says when you use the special, it gives you an all block to free spirit, but it also removes 1 turn of chain reduction. And because we're inflicted with it by 3 turns, when we reach the last stage, the chain reduction is removed, which is great. Now, we can actually use the Uta special on stage 1 and basically build it up so that when we reach the last stage, we have the most significant attack and orb boosting effect. But we are also going to be using the Beckman and Lucky Roux special on stage number 2, because it gives us a 2.75 chain boundary for 3 turns. Of course, with chain reduction, chain boundaries can be a little dicey, but because this one starts at 2.75, we can ignore the attack down chain effect on battle 2. When we reach the last stage, the 2.75 chain boundary will be really good against the attack down chain 3.0 on stage 3, because we are removing the chain reduction. Now remember, there is also going to be special reverse, and there's also going to be special bind, of course. So the special bind on the last stage is dealt with Karasu, but the special reverse, we don't have to worry about that due to Uta's captain ability. And remember that Beppo does have double special launch, so we can use him on stage 2 to get a full board of slots, and we can use him on stage 3 to get a full board of slots. We're going to have an attack and orb boost from Uta. We're going to be using Nami to get a defense down conditional boost, remove the enemy's defense, give us a color affinity boost, and then we also have Magellan here because he's just a free unit. Like, that last unit can literally be any unit so long as it does a HP cut, because you need to launch an effect that does an HP cut so the enemy removes their own barriers. A pretty obscure team, but it is still going to work, which is actually really cool. Of course, not using the point boosters of Jack and or Perospero, but it's still a really cool team idea. And then we finally get to look at the final boss battle, which is against Int. So we want to bring side characters, but we also want to bring characters that are Striker, Free Spirit, and Driven. So when you want to bring characters that are Sai, and then you see Striker, Free Spirit, like the first character that comes to mind is Nami, and Nami is, once again, very fantastic for this event. And it's kind of crazy, you know, this New Year's character that we thought, you know, oh yeah, she's going to be really good. She's going to be really good for this month because she's going to be boosted. Well, look, Nami is just good in like everything. She's just so powerful. So interestingly enough, Battle 2 is kind of odd because they give half of your team rainbow slots, but they also give half of your team block slots. So the way that we're getting around this is we are going to be using Yamato's special, which is going to change the block slots that are given to us into Wano, and all of our free spirit characters will get their orbs locked due to the Jinbei support attached to Yamato. Then obviously we have the Nami special because there is 6 turns of damage reduction that I think some people may overlook, but 6 turns of damage reduction you have to deal with on stage 2. Of course, you can just stall it out and deal with the additional gimmicks, but the gimmicks that they give you are pretty bad, so we're not going to be dealing with that. When we reach the last stage, there's a lot of different things going on here. So there is, they make the int slots not beneficial to the crew for 9 turns. They give you a full board of int slots, and they have an effect that says if you activate an orb changing special, they're going to give you a full board of int slots once again. So essentially, they want you to have these int slots, but as we said, if you're able to lock good slots before moving into this stage, ones like Wano, Rainbow, Semla, etc., you can keep the slots that you're given. So that's why we have our combination of units as we have them right now. There is going to be 5 turns of Special Bind and 5 turns of Defense Up This is why we have Bello Betty. She gives an orb boost and removes defense. Frankie gets around the special bind, but after level 31, there's also going to be 1 turn of special reverse, which Frankie also deals with. He deals with special reverse and deals with special bind. So that when they have that combination together of special bind and special reverse, it does make team building a little bit difficult because there aren't a lot of characters that can just straight up deal with that. Unfortunately, there's no paralysis inflicted to us here, so we can't use Nami to fully charge her special and then have like a cooldown support just in case, you know. Unfortunately, that does not occur in this team example here. Alternatively though, you could just put, you know, a Brûlé support on Nami, use the friend captain Nami and superclass on stage 2, and then your own Nami with the Brûlé support or a cooldown reduction support of some kind will be ready, and then you could use the Nami special to give you the cooldown that you will desire. So that is, you know, something that you could potentially look at. And after level 31, there is going to be 4 turns of Rainbow Shield once again, so having 2 Namis is pretty good. You can use one stage 2 to get rid of 6 turns, one on stage 3 to get rid of an additional turn, and then Roger's on the team because he's a character that's boosted, works under Nami, and also provides a huge attack boost to the crew. So it's probably not the most optimized team out there for sure, but it just gives you, once again, a couple of ideas in terms of characters that you can use in order to get around the gimmicks, as well as giving you boosted effects. So Nami, once again, is showing why she's probably one of the best characters, if not the best character in the game right now. And then looking at the final team that we're using here, it's going to be double Film Red Snake Man, who is actually going to be a pretty solid option here because some of the Straw Hats are going to be pretty decent in this quest. So the way that this team is dealing with it is a little bit different. So we're going to be using this Brook. This Kizuna Brook is actually very, very good for this quest. Now his special does remove 6 turns of Rainbow Shield, which is perfect for stage 2. And he also gives us an orb boost and an attack boost. So that's pretty solid, right? But the really cool thing about Brook is his crewmate ability. His crewmate ability makes int slots beneficial to the crew. So my idea with this team is that we have this really, really unique support attached to Garb. Now this support of this treasure map Toadskii, you could also use the treasure map Smoker as well, but this is also an idea. But this says that once per quest, if the enemy changes your slots, which they do on stage 2, then for quick units, sign int slots are going to be beneficial for 3 turns at the start of the next turn. So this is really interesting because you can have your own beneficial orb enable, you move into the final stage, and then the enemy tries to inflict you with the negative orb enable, making int slots badly matching. It doesn't work because you have your own one, and then with Brook's crewmate ability, the full board of int slots that are inflicted to the crew, they're going to be treated as beneficial, so that's actually pretty wicked. Now the Garp is here mainly because his special does set the enemy's defense to 0, so you don't even have to worry about their the defensive increase. We have to deal with special reverse after level 31, but luckily with Luffy's super type special, he has an effect that reduces the cooldowns of all of your crewmates by 2 turns, and then after that we can get rid of the special bind with this Chopper. He has a multi-stage special, but stage 2 and stage 3 both remove up to 5 turns of special bind, and also applies a resistance down to the enemy, so it just gives us extra damage, which is great. And then obviously with the multiple Luffys, we can get an attack boost, we can get an orb boosting effect, and then we have Rayleigh, which can get rid of the damage reduction that occurs after level 31, and also gives us a 2 times color affinity boost to our Psy characters. So that's the way that the team gets around it. We have attack boost, orb boost, resistance down, color affinity, and that's about it. I mean, Luffy's pretty cool, but again, just giving you guys some options. You can just have a full board of dope slots, lock them, move into the next stage, don't worry about it. Or if you have your own beneficial orb enable effect, you can ignore the badly matching slots that are given to the crew at level 3, at stage 3 that is. So those are all of the team comps that I have right now. Not going to be my final team comps exactly. We'll have to wait and see how things progress moving forward. But hopefully you guys did enjoy this. So that is going to wrap it up for me. Thank you so much for watching the video, and if you guys did enjoy it, make sure to go ahead and leave a like, and if you want to stay up to date with all the content I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. Other than that guys, I will see you guys within the next video.